Alright, now we're going to lay out the keel, which is going to fit right inside that middle slot that goes through the length of the boat. So we've picked out from our pile of extra lumber we've got over here. I happen to be using Port Orford cedar, but whatever else you decided to use will work fine as well. This is a 2x6. And I've actually had the opportunity to pick a couple of boards that had a little curve to them already, so I don't have to trim as much down the end. And I'll have to join them in the middle. These are 12-foot lengths, and since we need 23 feet, I'm going to scarf a foot scarf joint that's going to end up in the middle of the boat. So I've marked the curve of the keel onto the board, starting from this station here. You can see I have tape on the floor to show me where my reference baseline is. I put the tape on the floor with a laser to keep it straight. And then I've marked these areas and pounded some nails at the curve that I need, and then used a batten, which is just a straight grain stick that'll curve nicely and fair. And then I curved it along the stations that it needs to be, and then for the transom, which I haven't really do have a figure for, I just kept that same curve, bent it a little more, put a nail there, and then drew a line. So now I'm going to cut that out with a jigsaw, and then I will add that same piece to the top of the keel. That'll make that whole continuous height, and then we will have, at the end, we'll have one long curved board that we will put into the middle of our frames here. That will line everything up, and it will denote the curve that we need here as well. We'll glue that in place and then do some other fairing and stuff too before we start the sheathing. And you notice that down on the far side, the notch isn't cut yet because those are thinner frames because of how the floor in the boat drops down some. So I chose to leave those in because it would have made a real flimsy frame. So now I'm going to trim. You can see where I've got it drawn there. I'm going to trim that down, and then I will notch the front part of the keel to slide over that, and then I can remove this lower part, which is just put in there just to keep it rigid. So I can saw this off after the sheathing's on, so it'll hold everything all together. So that's what I'm going to do next, is cut the notches in the scarf and those sweeping curves into the keel, get all one piece of the keel, and then I can install it on this form, and it should be truing things up quite a bit by then. So so we'll get going on that, and then we'll show you what the finished product looks like.